So when we're doing sword work, one of my favorite things to do is a thrust. It's very efficient, it's very deadly. I can do a thrust and exert a lot less effort than a cut and get a very deadly result. And one of the ways I enhance that is by doing deceptions using point work. And what I mean by that is coupes and disengages. So that would be something like this. If I'm here with Matt and we are, let's just say we're on point like this. A disengage is when I go underneath the blade like this. A coupe is when I go over the tip. So this goes around the pommel. So here's this pommel, it goes under the pommel. This goes over the tip. Disengage, coupe. So these are really effective because with a very minimal amount of effort and very quickly, I can deal with a whole lot of different situations. So let's say we're on point here and Matt wants to beat my blade to the side. I see it coming, all I have to do is that, and now I'm back on line and I can go right into that. It's also effective for if I'm engaged here.
Right.
What? Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't have to be a beat.
It doesn't have to be.
He could feel me trying to
press, and I could, so if he's trying to press on my sword, I can easily dip under and I'm there. If I want to get rid of the point that's to my throat there, I can deceive pop and go. There's all kinds of things I can do with this deception. Let's go through a couple of them really quick just so they can see. So here's a couple examples. If he presses on my blade, I can feel that, I can disengage, and I can come into him there. If I want to add to that, I can add a backhanded beat and come in again. So just giving me a little bit more time away from this blade. I can do the same. Let's say, so the reason you'd use a coupe versus a disengage is this. Wherever I am on the blade is going to determine that. So if more of my tip is, if I'm like this, it's going to take a lot longer for me to go all the way down and up than it would for me to come up and over. That's when I'd use a coupe. I could also do a coupe if we were in a low line like this, and I wanted to come around like that.
We wouldn't be there that often.
Yeah, we wouldn't be there that often. With a disengage, if I have less point than I do rest of the blade, much easier to go underneath. So that's deceptions with point work. There's other things we can do with them, but it's very effective. And you can pair that with things like the one-handed thrust, one of my favorites, where I deceive and then I extend here, and you can see my reach is, I mean, this is my normal reach, right?
Well, also pretend, okay,
yeah.
Pretend you start doing that, and I realize something's happening and I retreat. He could pivot too. Now, if I were actually trying, there might be, but this is really interesting because things start happening in layers.
Let's
do that again. This time I
yeah.
want to see if you, so we're gonna go, I want to go really slow because I want to talk through.
Very slow.
So what's happening here is I'm like gonna push.
Press him. I deceive. I start to show.
Oh, he's coming.
And
I'll do this. That's a little bit harder
Harder
to do with just one hand back here.
But I might be able to do
sometimes you get into like disengage, or I might, maybe not so much with longsword, but with other weapons.
You know what? Grab a rapier.
Well,
hold on 1 second.
So
this definitely works with other weapons too, rapier, saber, anything, honestly. So we're with rapiers now.
Anything that can thrust.
Anything that can thrust. All right, so what were you saying?
I might put pressure on your blade, but not really intend to fully do this. I might be playing games too.
So he might put that expecting me to disengage, and as I come, he comes the other direction.
Right.
So there's all kinds of layers that we can do. There's always a counter to it, but let's just do a normal disengage with the rapier. So if I'm here and you're here more on the outside, I can disengage and thrust, right? I can also use the false, well at this point, yeah, the false edge. If I'm here, I can false edge beat into my thrust. I can do all sorts of things from that deception, that point work deception. It's really, come a little closer. It's really fast. If we're doing this at speed, go ahead and just I'm gonna, so here's how it would look at speed. It's very fast. And I did it a little bit slower because I didn't want to stab Matt.
I kind of moved my point away.
A little bit, but
it's usually coupled with
something else.
You can use your weapon to manage the other weapon.
Yeah.
And basically, what it amounts to is so generally speaking, in fencing with almost anything, you have inside and outside lines.
Yes.
This is my outside line, this is my inside line. I can kind of make him worry about different lines. Right here, he's going to be concerned about his inside line, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say we're fencing, and I go like this,
Now I'm worried about my
now
outside.
I'm on your outside.
Yeah, outside line.
And I want to manage it at the
Manage
same time.
that.
And I might even try and do this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lock it that hard, but this will at least
Make it harder for the shoot again. It makes it harder for me to move it out of the way immediately. There's a bit of a catch there. So mine can do the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, point work deceptions. Let's take a look at them with some fencing. All right, here's some point work with the rapier. A little bit here, but more of a touch.
I think what happened is I went past and kind of
Okay.
like that.
Your rapier is longer than mine.
I know.
A little bit. You touched, but only after I touched.
Yeah, yours was a good solid hit. Maybe a little touch through the parry here, but it was insanely light.
Okay, they don't count.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
No, I'm fine. It was here. It wasn't my gentleman's region.
You touched my face, but was a flick. Probably would have stopped me though. It was my
Maybe.
eye. It was my eye.
Okay. Sometimes it's too tempting to not cut.
I know, right? Ah, his is longer than mine.
Well, you also came in with your arm
Yeah, a little
elbow
lower.
too bent.
Yeah, I was trying to just even away, but it didn't
That's
work.
fine. That's one of the things you learn quickly if you do epee, which is a sport weapon, or something like rapier. Is if you're gonna do a thrust attack,
Better be straight.
anything like this,
Very open.
you lose reach and you're not protecting
Yeah.
your arm.
Yeah.
And it happens from time to time.
Like sitting your toe back out.
Yeah.
Sitting your fencing.
Mine was not a poke. No.
Okay.
I would have felt it if it was a poke.
Okay.
I think what it was is I was probing around and I kind of bonked it.
Oh, that was a good one. I tried to bind that, and I tried to bind his sword, but he went from the foible to the fort so quickly. I was trying to bind here, but he slid in, and I was pressing against his strong with my weak and on the fall side, so there was no way.
Yep, that's another thing that's interesting to demonstrate. Hold your sword out. Just hold it out and
Yep.
try and resist me.
Extremely easy. I can do this all day.
Now I had a little bit there, but
Oh, I didn't.
now try and resist.
Oh god.
You just can't.
No. So this is the weak side of the sword. That said, it is the side I want to cut with because it has
Yeah.
the most leverage advantage.
It's good for cutting.
Good
but
for
not
cutting,
parrying.
bad for blocking. This is the hardest, the strongest part of the sword. Good for parrying, not good for not good for cutting.
No.
All right, let's do one more or two more, and then we'll go to long swords.
Sure. I pulled.
Yeah, you pulled that one.
I pulled because I saw it going downwards, and I was
Yeah,
like,
that would have
"No."
been right into my guts.
Guts.
Oh, that was a cool one.
That was a good one.
Oh, that was fun.
I was trying something similar, but my blade is so long, my point was past your
I was
head.
able to kind of
Yeah.
pop that side of it. That was a fun cut. All right.
Honestly, if I had been thinking properly, what I should have done is like
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Last one.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you got that one. That
I
is.
actually missed. I actually intentionally. I noticed you moved the point,
Yeah.
so I went ahead and changed focus to here.
Nice, nice. You can move so quick with point work. You can change your target and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's you have to be more precise. right? Because a cut, the swath of a cut, even if I'm a little bit off, I have the opportunity, because it's a wide range, so I might have a little bit more luck, but with a point, I have to be fairly precise. Like if I'm aiming for the hand and arm specifically, any deviation to the left or the right means I'm gonna miss.
But also,
it's so easy to change trajectory with the
another
thrust.
thing is, with a cut, I said this in another video, but I'll say it again. If I'm cutting you, I want to hit with about here,
Yeah.
and I have to have the edge aligned.
I have to have the edge.
It has to be going a certain velocity. So there's a lot of variables. This is a smaller thing to aim with, but if I hit something,
It inevitably is gonna.
it doesn't
Doesn't matter how you do it. Yeah, it could get caught in the rib.
and it
maybe, or the
requires
sternum.
so much less energy. I
It
mean,
does.
we know this. What do you sew with?
Yeah, a needle.
Because you take all the energy of your
Yeah.
hand and focus it into a tiny
It is.
point.
The cut is so devastating because it is a low energy attack. That is.
Thrust.
Sorry. What did I say? Sorry.
It's
The
okay.
thrust is so devastating because it is a low energy attack that is absolutely, it just kills. It goes in you and then you're done. All right, let's just try longsword.
Yeah,
Same thing.
longsword.
Same thing with longsword. So guys, it's like 96
6
or
or
7,
96 or 7.
maybe 100 degrees outside, and we're on all black.
We're not outside, luckily.
Luckily, no, we wouldn't be doing this if we had the outside. All right.
I doubt I could do it for longer than 2 minutes.
Yeah, so heat stroke dead.
Wouldn't be smart.
No, wouldn't.
Okay, so we're gonna do point work, right?
Point work with less cutting, but
Well, every once in a while we
Yeah.
might find ourselves in a situation where we go ahead and do it, but our goal is going to be to land thrust.
a little bit.
You kind of got to me here, but I think it was after I
Yeah.
hit your thumb.
You actually hit my this.
Oh, okay.
It's so fast.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a guard.
I hit your guard?
No, that was your guard.
What was my guard?
Yeah, it bent
Yeah,
like
it's amazing the number of
the number of
times.
times we hit each other's
Let's
guards.
show them what you did. Just hold your
So
sword.
I did this, and I hit him on. Come over here so they can see it. This happens a lot to us. So I went for a hand cut, but I hit on his cleon, and it hit hard enough that my blade bent.
So
With the
these
sharp
have
sword,
rubber blunts.
yeah. With the and they also have a spatula tip so that it's thicker at the base so that we can be
A
safe.
sharp would have probably
Glanced
slid
off.
off of it and gone into me.
Yeah,
Probably.
probably. Yeah.
But it might have gone to your point. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it might have.
Maybe it's not really.
Not enough to
if
stop.
it's a good sword,
Yeah.
there's no way.
No. so
I missed it.
he missed the cut,
missed
but
the
he had
thrust.
enough power and enough pull.
I missed the thrust.
Sorry, he missed the thrust, and I actually specifically I clamped down
Yeah.
on the blade with my chin. If I wasn't wearing like a gorget or something, I definitely would have been cut though.
Yeah.
As you pulled it out,
Yeah.
that was a risky move.
Yeah.
If I was fighting, I still would have done it.
I don't know. Maybe you would have.
With my shoulder,
I think your brain would have been telling get the sharp thing away from me.
yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Probably. You're probably right.
Oh, good one.
It's kind of
Step into it.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
Yeah. You might have got something past here.
Yeah, so this is another thing. The material on the neck and this rubber
Yeah.
slides sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard to say if it was a needle point or a sword point.
I think you probably you would have like pierced my ear.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty. It wasn't what I was going for.
Ah, yeah, good in the shoulder.
I think you landed it, did you? Maybe a little.
Not enough.
I felt it barely.
I saw it and I thought it was your junk, so I pulled a little
Thank you.
bit, but
I like my junk.
I don't know if it would have been enough.
Yeah. That was my thumb.
Okay. not enough.
You didn't push it very
It
hard.
wasn't enough.
That one was enough.
Okay, one more, and then we'll call it. Oh, I think you clipped my hand, but I think I clipped your face.
Yeah, you got me. Man, that was
fun.
yeah.
So now, if we did have a modification on this, which was that we were fencing specifically emphasizing the point.
Oh, my main goal every time
Yeah.
is to thrust somewhere.
A thrust.
Yeah.
So that's not 100% how we probably fence with long swords, because it is a cut and thrust weapon,
Well,
but it worked.
to be fair,
There's nothing wrong with that.
if you told me I had to fight someone for real with one,
That might be a very,
that would be my approach,
Yeah.
probably, because if I can land a thrust on someone's hand or wrist,
yeah.
I can end the fight without getting hurt or
That was by no
without killing
means,
them. I might not want to kill them.
that was by no means an ineffective form of longsword fighting. That was very effective, even if one of us, now the thing is, if one of us decided to do more cuts, I feel like that person might have been at a disadvantage.
Depends how good
Depends.
they are. Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
the thrust is it's nothing to be taken lightly, and like we've said in the past, this perception of the long sword being this big, clumsy, slow weapon that is cut-oriented, and the rapier being this quick weapon that is thrust-oriented, it's just not true. The long sword is great at thrusts.
And I know for a fact that epes have heard multiple stories
One second.
from people who have fenced epee for a long time. Skinny little sport weapon, right? I've heard multiple stories from people where this can break and you end up with nothing but some slightly jagged metal,
Which is
not even
essentially-
intentional tip.
Yeah.
And it goes through legs,
Yeah.
it goes through torso.
I mean, essentially at that point you have a small sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't feel it a lot
They
of
don't
the
feel
time.
it. The
It's
adrenaline
very
kicks
weird.
in. So yeah, like the yeah, if you can get come back.
Was that? Oh.
No, just come back. So yeah, the deception is a great way to enhance your point work. Getting really good at executing a fast deception where you come off of the inside line to the outside line, to the outside line to the inside line, or coupe over, being able to redirect your point, it makes your fencing so much more
And-
dangerous for the opponent.
Keeping track of something I didn't really mention, I'll do it real super quick. If I do a disengage, I do not want to do
No.
everything.
No, it's
because then
very
I'm leaving
small.
things open. If anything, when you're fencing with a point weapon, you want to have your outside line protected and the tip hovering visually sort of over their throat and keep things that way.
Yeah.
Don't move your whole arm, because this is the part that can protect you even while you're doing something.
The only time I ended up moving the arm is after I had already gotten position.
Sure.
If he thrusts in, so let's do this really quick. This
fine.
isn't what I do, but
It's the same
so
thing.
we're here and he disengages and thrusts at me, and I can keep it like this, but now I've got his point guarded. So yes, I have this angle here. He can do that too. But there's a couple times where we were like this and you just see to the other side, and then you thrusted at me. I was able to do this, and I displaced my body from the sword and was able to walk it out. But even then, I'm adjusting my arm to be straight to that weapon.
And you're doing it intentionally.
Intentionally.
You don't want to end up doing something that you don't know you're doing.
Yeah.
And early fencers with epee and other point-oriented weapons, they'll feel like they need to aim sort of down the blade or whatever. But you really don't want to do that. You want to kind of aim through the tip at the person and keep it defending the outside line. Unless you have to defend the inside
Yeah.
line, then you can do that.
And since this is a cutting weapon, sometimes you will have to do that.
Or even from a thrust.
Yeah,
Somebody
even from a
changes
thrust,
lines,
yep.
you can convert their attempt of
Well,
thrust.
and in small sword, you've got. And this is a bad example.
It's okay.
This, and then you do have this parry, so I can come to here and thrust from there too.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So that's some point
Just
work.
have to know what you're doing.
Yeah, some point work that you can basically do with any weapon that is capable of thrusting. Saber, longsword, Montante sword, rapier. Anything that's capable of thrusting can do this deception, and it is very effective. So go out and try it.
Yeah.
If you enjoy our content, please consider joining our YouTube memberships or supporting us on Patreon.